and going into the banana zone, as you guys like to say in Britain. As you know, I'm in San Diego, California, enjoying the great weather. No big deal. But oh look, I think he's interested in crypto too. Anyway, let's go from there. So, what do you think, man? Are we going Bitcoin 100K, or what's going on with the market right now?
So I'd say that it's very likely to grow. I mean, it's recently hit its all-time high at 77K, and a lot of people have been saying that it's likely to reach 100K. I'd say potentially, but when it would be the case, it'd probably be in a few months' time. So it wouldn't like jump up straight away, but
What do you mean by
it
a
could
few months' time? What
eventually.
does that mean? Does that mean January, December? Well, it's a couple months, I guess, or next month versus a few months. But what do you mean? Yeah, okay. First,
Oh yeah,
let's
you're
take a step
right.
back.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
77K, 77K. We have a lot of people saying that 80K is not. It's impossible for now. The market is overheated. People will sell off before then. I think that we could hit 80K as early as next week.
possibly because I mean, with the presidential election like done now, and people putting in their faith into crypto, it is likely to reach 80K. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not so
because
much that it's done because it's technically so. I know that you know a little bit about how the U.S. elections work. They're a little bit weird. It's the presidential election was called, but there's a few states that are still yet to be called, and there's a few congressional races that we're waiting on to see if who controls the U.S. House, which is basically our version of the I think House of Commons. So we're waiting to see who
yeah,
controls that. So we have control of the White House, we have control of the Senate with pro crypto candidates. Now we're trying to see if we can maintain control of the House with pro crypto candidates as well. So we're still counting.
interesting. So although it's like basically he's pretty much won it, it's still counted in other states
Yeah,
in
Arizona and
extent.
Nevada. There's two states, Arizona and Nevada, that are still being counted, and they're
Yeah,
still calling races for Congress. No one party has control of Congress. Although I want to make sure that I say that the pro crypto lobbies, they promoted candidates on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. This is not a
yeah,
partisan issue. There's people on both sides. For example, President Trump was promoted for the presidential level for his pro crypto approach, but in the state of New York, there's a senator who's a Democrat named Gillibrand, who was also promoted over the Republican candidate for the pro crypto
interesting.
policies. So we have at least we have that on both sides we have candidates that are pro and against crypto. And I believe that CNBC or one of the major news stations in the US said that at least the US Congress House, we've elected more pro crypto candidates, well, policymakers, congressmen than ever in history. I believe it's 250 of the like 400 something candidate people in Congress are now pro crypto.
250 of members. That is quite a big interest into that then. And if
Yes,
you're
and
saying that,
yes.
and if you're saying that a lot of what's it called, people in political power has interest in that, then it's very likely that they are very likely to put some money into crypto in itself too.
It's not that. It's more so like the policies. Again, the U.S. is really
Mm,
we're not like the U.K. or Europe where you guys have established policies in place for crypto, regulatory frameworks, right? A sandbox, they call it in political terms here. We don't have that in the U.S. We've had a war against XRP and a lot of different cryptocurrencies being sued, a lot of our exchanges being sued. And with a change of policymakers, we can do things like, for example, there's a Senator Lummis who spoke at the Bitcoin
mm.
conference here in Nashville in the US, who said they're going to promote a bill for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Like the US has reserves, US dollars, they're going to have one for Bitcoin
Okay,
specifically. And Trump has already agreed to
interesting.
sign it. So we have the House, bills have to pass the House and the Senate. They both pass it, Trump signs it, we're good to go. Also, we have the Securities and Exchange Commission run by a man named Gary Gensler. I'm not sure if you guys know him in the UK. He's very
Not so
anti-crypto.
much now.
No, he's very anti-crypto. He sued XRP Ripple. He sued Coinbase, one of the major exchanges here. And Trump said he's going to fire him and replace him with a pro-crypto person.
Yeah, so it sounds like things are going to go well for crypto in that sense. But I also believe that people who are looking to get into crypto, so it's a good idea for them to make sure they have their own accounts and stuff verified beforehand.
Oh, KYC. Oh, yeah,
That
we have KYC. Like know your client, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we have
KRC, yeah, I've
Coinbase.
heard of
Again,
them.
we
Yeah.
have Coinbase does that. Binance US does that. The problem is I'm not exactly sure why Coinbase was sued, to be honest with you, but I know that
Mm.
losses like that hurt the industry because you had SBF, FTX scandal, and that really hit their industry. And anytime that a company gets sued, that for a lot of people that are trying to get into crypto, that gives them a reason to basically doubt the legitimacy of crypto.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, that's understandable actually. Um, but I think obviously, if people are like skeptical about it, then it also like gives it that uncertainty of tokens. But I believe that if you have enough exchanges that are, especially in certain countries that are have lots of funds to get into crypto in itself, that it's going to very very likely going to rise in prices or supply and demand in that sense.
Yeah.
But
So right
obviously, I can
now,
see it's going to
but
slowly get into it though with other countries,
besides
which are pretty
Bitcoin,
much doing.
yeah, sorry, besides Bitcoin, you know Solana, right? Solana?
Yeah.
You seen Solana's on
Oh,
the
that's a
loose right
cool
now
T-shirt.
too. Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
thank you. Yeah, Solana Hero, crypto gang from Thailand. Actually, I was made in the
Oh,
U.S., but
nice.
it's a gentleman, a YouTuber I listen to. Shout out to him, by the way. Some of the listeners on this channel are from the crypto gang. Some of my family members. But anyway, street
Oh,
fam, as
nice
we like
one.
to say in the U.S. But yeah, Solana has been on a rip. This morning I woke up, right, and I see a text
Yeah.
from my friend. Hey, I tried to unstake Solana 8 days ago, and I'm still waiting. I was like, yeah, bro, that's because that means there's a lot of activity on the network, right? The
Mm.
staking periods, the way they work is I unstaked Cardano, not financial advice, a few weeks ago because I was like, let me just switch it over to Sui, and they were like, it'll take 2 days. They did it on Saturday. I did it on Friday, unstaked it. Saturday morning, I had the funds already ready because
Yeah.
there was little activity on the Cardano network at that time. But right now, Solana has a lot of network congestion. Man, at one point today, it was like up to $205, which the yearly high I believe is 220, which is pretty insane.
For Solana, you're saying
Yeah,
of
it
its
was.
all-time
Yeah,
high.
I mean, U.S. dollars. I think most of the world uses U.S. dollars. I'm not sure if you guys use pounds. You probably use pounds, right, to denominate everything.
We do, but however, I do like what's it called? When I look at the charts, I put it in USD to avoid any confusion. But yeah, looking at the charts on TradingView now, you're right. It was $205 at one of its all-time highs. Yeah. Well, of this year, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, this year, yeah, and yeah, yearly highs. We've talked about this before on the channel. Yearly highs versus cycle highs. So right now, a lot of people are asking me, Mike, how do I get into crypto? Obviously, in the U.S., I can use Coinbase. What can you use? What's the easiest exchange that's regulated in the UK?
So you have Coinbase is actually one of them, although it has
Oh, really? You have Coinbase
structure.
in the UK too?
We do, yes. It was actually quite loose there in terms of using it. However, over time, became a bit more restrictive for new customers.
Yeah.
So it may ask you to do a lot of like verification. But yes, it does
KYC,
actually.
which is normal. They want to be compliant with the government so they don't get kicked out or get sued or anything.
Yeah, so with KYC, I'm not too sure about them, but what I do know is that if you were to use another one like crypto.com, that's also a good one to get into crypto, especially with like the big popular ones. And another one would be this is one like as you'd use as a normal wallet, but Revolut is very good as well. You can buy crypto on Revolut, although it's not as varied as like the exchanges. It's
Oh,
good
you
as
mean
like
they
a
don't have
general wallet.
they don't have a large selection? You mean of cryptocurrencies?
That's correct. However, you have the big main ones on there.
Okay, no, because I understand it because when I first started my crypto journey, I started with Gemini. I talked about it in my TED talk. That was the first regulated exchange, and I saw it on the subway in New York City. It said Revolution needs rules. At the time, they only had 5 coins. I was giving advice to somebody today that was asking me, "Hey, Mike, I want to get into crypto. What should I do? What should I buy?" I said, "Listen, I would use either Gemini or well, that's one that's used here with the Winklevoss twins, the Facebook twins,
Yeah.
or I would use Coinbase. Robinhood is good, but the problem with Robinhood is that they have the bad reputation. They screw a lot of people over, even though it's actually free to buy, trade, and sell. But They also asked me. Oh, I said specifically Gemini. I was like, Gemini has heavier regulation of what they let on their exchange, where Coinbase has a more varied supply. I think I don't know about you, but maybe you agree or disagree with me. Generally speaking, if you're in an exchange that has a small selection because they're more selective, you're safer buying altcoins. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Most cases, that is the correct way of doing things. Yes, because they have to like go through it more rules and regulations to actually see if they are legit and stuff. And if they
Yeah.
find that once they get if it were not to be improved, then it makes the token itself less valuable, the altcoin.
Yeah.
But I agree though. Like if it's more difficult to hold on to it, then usually it's it won't be on those like main exchanges. So that's correct. So that's why, like what a lot of people who are very into crypto is they tend to look at other exchanges that are like decentralized, and those ones tend to have more options with what you want to buy. For example, one if you were to get into decentralized ones, a good one would be MetaMask as an example. That's very useful to get into
Definitely, and
multiple varied
that's
tokens.
definitely something that we're gonna have to talk about another day because that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
more
more
advanced.
complex.
We're
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
sorry,
Yeah.
you're talking about hot wallets and cold wallets. Right now, we're just like, listen, somebody wants to buy crypto right now. They don't want to talk about
Mm,
decentralization and all that stuff. They just want to log on to Coinbase or Kraken or Crypto.com, like you said, and just buy a crypto. And another thing is that I always tell people, they ask me like, hey, what should I buy? I was like, listen, there's nothing wrong. I think I've said this to you before. We've talked about this. There's nothing wrong with taking $5, $10, an amount that you're not afraid to lose. Like, don't take your rent money and think you're gonna get rich tomorrow, and just buying like $5 or $10 worth of Bitcoin, right?
yeah. Um, yeah, you're right. But you generally speaking, when you're trying to like buy like crypto and stuff, it should only be amounts that you can like afford to lose or afford to put aside in terms of investing. So that's generally speaking how I've done things, and it shouldn't really be something where you put your life savings towards it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like, there's always stories every at the top of every bull market, right? That like, oh,
Mm,
somebody invested $90,000 of their life savings and they lost it all, and it's like, yeah, because that's not how you invest. The winners of any crypto, I mean, you're still early for this cycle, in my opinion. I may be wrong. It's not financial advice, but people that invest when everybody else is investing are the ones that lose out the most. The
yeah,
millionaires and the billionaires are made during the bear market. That bear market is when nobody is interested in crypto. You put your money in.
exactly.
And then when everybody is buying, going crazy, the taxi driver is asking you about Bitcoin, your mom and sister, your great grandmother who's 90 something years old that doesn't even really knows how to use a computer trying to buy Bitcoin, that's probably when it's a good time to leave to take your
Yeah.
profits, which is sell your crypto.
No, absolutely, and it's also sort of seeing like where the all-time high is, but you want to set yourself like a target of when you want to get out of crypto too. But obviously, this is like when you understand more into charts, which is obviously more in terms of like advanced like traders. But you
Well, it's
generally
not necessarily
even
when you say
like
it's very advanced
not
when somebody that's
massively.
just, somebody that's just starting off because one thing that a lot of people like myself, and I don't know if you've done it, but a lot of people that are new, because I always say it takes 2 3 cycles to really get into this, really understand how everything works, right? And
Mm,
the first cycle, you don't know anything. All you see things are going up. You're excited. You stay in too long, and maybe you invested $200 in it, right? It went up
yeah,
to, for example, it went up to $10,000, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna keep going higher. It's gonna keep going higher, and then you're like, holy shit, you wake up one day and it's like at $300, and you're like,
yeah,
well, you technically didn't lose money. You made you're still in the green, but if you would have known to just not be too greedy and sell at that price, take a plan. You said make a plan. When it gets to a certain amount, I'm gonna sell no matter what. Or even
yeah,
better, they say DCA out, right? You DCA in every week, every month you put, let's say every first of the month you put $500 into your crypto. Once people start getting in, your grandmother, taxi driver, you start taking money out every week, DCAing out. Would you say that's a good plan
yeah.
too?
I'd say so, and that's something a lot of like experienced buyers do themselves too. And one thing about if you were to have Coinbase is you can literally set like a recurring amount of what you want to put into, and you can turn it off or on like whenever you ever feel comfortable with doing it. But yeah, so generally speaking, if you especially when you're starting out, DCA in and out is a good strategy.
DCAing in and DCAing out. So
Hmm.
we have a good amount of people watching, and a lot of people are going to see this recording. And I want to get into something that, again, not financial advice. However, we how to explain this in a simple fashion that somebody that doesn't understand crypto would understand. If you invest in something that's like a Bitcoin that's more established, you're gonna get less returns. For example, if I
Yeah,
invest $100 right now in Bitcoin, in theory, and I take it out in a year, for example, 100,000. Oh, I said $1,000. I said $1,000. Take it out in a year, I
$1,000.
may get $4,000. However, if I invest $1,000 in just potentially in a lower market cap, that means less money is in the project, like a Dogecoin. My thousand
Yeah,
dollars might turn into $100,000. So I want to really stress that yes, start with Bitcoin, put $5 in, $10 in, just see what happens for a few weeks, and maybe Ethereum too. They're the golden standard. But
yeah,
start researching altcoins. We have Bitcoin, and then we have altcoins. Anything that's not Bitcoin is an altcoin. Ethereum is an altcoin by definition, but it's more
but
established project.
yeah, so it's basically like a main token in this sense, and people just say like Bitcoin and Ethereum as as one major token, so that's where most of the money is brought into. You could
Yeah.
compare it
What's your
as
advice?
like gold for Bitcoin and silver for Ethereum.
Yeah.
That's how people see
Although
it as.
I would say I would throw Litecoin in there somehow, and I say Ethereum is a tech stock like a Tesla. But yes, for now, the purposes of now, yes, gold is Bitcoin and Ethereum is silver, and then
Yeah,
after that, every other altcoin. But yeah, there are a lot of projects now. I want to mention a few projects that people should look into that I think are going to do very well. Uh,
yeah,
Solana and Sui are two ones that like Raul Paul, one of the biggest crypto maxis
mm,
person that only invests in crypto in the world, is involved in and is investing heavily in. And
yeah,
any like honestly the the meme coin mania. Solana, the reason why Solana is so valuable is because people build meme coins on the project. It's a project to literally build projects on. And right now the biggest use
exactly.
case is meme coins. So I'm thinking, I think, I don't know about you. People are saying, oh, DPIN, that's when you basically pay people cryptocurrency to drive around and like map out areas, kind of like Google Maps. People are saying
Yeah,
DPIN, SoFi, basically building like Facebook or Twitter in a decentralized way where nobody controls it. People are saying GameFi, building video games. Which, by the way, Solana has video games built on it too, which is pretty badass in my opinion.
but
I
that's
think,
pretty good. Yeah, I didn't actually know that
yeah, actually,
myself.
I think that's a really good use case because Ethereum was founded because Vitalik Buterin, I think, got kicked out of a video game, and he's like, "Listen, I want to build a platform where nobody can control video games and everybody has a
Yeah,
say in how they run." But anyway, I think meme coin mania was earlier this year the main driver of the cryptocurrency market, and I believe people that don't know anything about crypto are gonna go into crypto, like like what I did in 2017, 18, or 19. I forget what
yeah.
year specifically. And they're gonna be like, you know what? I don't understand any of this, but that's a cute ass little dog. That's a cute ass little cat. So,
Yeah.
what are some meme coin projects? Or you could again, we have by the way about 8 more minutes. I gotta hop onto the live stream. But what do you think are some? Do you think that meme coin mania is the main driver of this bull market? By the way, for me, I would say Bonk, the biggest one on Solana. Pepe is pretty good. Dogecoin
Yeah.
and Shiba Inu. Dogecoin is like the Bitcoin of meme coins, and the gold and Shiba Inu is like the silver, Ethereum of meme coins. I think it's
Mm.
meme coin mania. What do you think is the driver, especially going the next 2 months? Because we're going to be doing these more frequently. For these next 2 months, what do you think is the main driver of the space?
Um, it's definitely going to be meme coins because at the moment that's what's going to be pumping up a lot of the prices and the interest. And then once like the things in terms of meme coins die out, then it's going to be more of the important projects like GameFi, AI tokens, and DeFi, you name it. Those are the ones that will start coming in afterwards after the hype has died down a little bit with the meme coins.
Yeah,
But those ones that you mentioned, they tend to be the main drivers of what's driving it up from meme coins.
that's cool. Because and for do you think that GameFi, SoFi, and like Deepin are big ones, or you think that because Deepin to me is just so boring. Like to me, that's like okay, some VCs might be interested in it, but I don't think somebody's gonna be like, I think I want to buy some Bitcoin and some Dogecoin. Let me look into decentralized mapping. I just don't think that's a big thing. I don't know. That's my opinion, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, that'd be like a very niche subject. Like it for someone even like myself that's studied a lot of tokens. I don't really know too much about Deepin in itself, so it's a very niche like category. Like those people that are very into tech in that sort of field would only be into it, I believe.
Yeah, because that's
Because
it's all community driven, right? Because it doesn't matter how you can
exactly,
have the best project in the world, but if nobody likes it, nobody's gonna invest in it.
mm,
The community's not gonna invest in it, and it's not gonna go anywhere.
no, exactly. I was just having a look at CoinGecko, and right
But
now as
like
well,
CoinGecko and
Chronos.
CoinGecko and what was the other one? Are two great places to look at the fear and greed index and the state of the market. CoinGecko and Coin Market Cap. But go ahead.
A Coin Market Cap, yeah, that's right, yeah. And
Same thing.
from what I've seen right now for Chronos, if you're ever interested in that one, that's pumped immensely too, since the election.
Yeah.
So it was at 0.07, and now it's gone to 0.11. So it's gone up by about 40% increase, and that's within a few days.
Oh, definitely. I
Um,
mean,
and that's,
yeah, that's a good one, but that's the one
but
that
obviously,
Coinbase uses, right? Chronos.
Chronos, I believe so, yes.
Okay, that's the main driver, the gas of Coinbase, the biggest exchange in the United States. Well,
Yeah.
the biggest U.S. based exchange. I'm not sure Binance is bigger worldwide, but I believe Coinbase is still the biggest in the U.S. Oh, and another thing, before we start this bull market, or remind you guys, but sorry for the barking in the background. Another indicator that it's time to sell is when the number two or the number one app that's being downloaded in the U.S. is Coinbase. When that's number one, number two, that's when you know, hey, it's time to jump ship. In my opinion,
Yeah.
or start DCAing out,
Uh,
right? Again, or have a plan. Have some kind
no,
of plan.
absolutely. Yeah, and to sort of like keep things safe as well. Like if you want to, you can always like keep it either into USD or USDC, as like when you're DCing out. Don't always have to put it into your bank account either. Like whenever you're ready
It's
to,
actually probably a bad idea. Not financial advice. It's probably a bad idea to do that because a lot of people are trying to do it at the same time. So you're better off
yeah,
putting it and transfer it into a stable coin. But again, we want to be we're once when we get to that point, we'll have a live stream on that. We'll talk about that on the
mm.
spaces next as well. But there's certain ones that you might not want to trust because that screwed a lot of people over in the last bull run. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm gonna
Oh
take my
yeah,
earnings and put it into some Korean based stable token paired 1-to-1 with the US dollar. And then the person that owned the project took all the money and ran. So
and that's because then they put it into unsafe stable tokens. Yeah, we only go for well
yeah, but you really
reputable
don't know
ones in
which
that
one's safe
case.
or not, right? Because that a lot of people thought that was the safest one. That's why it was such a big scam.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard a few dodgy things about USDT as well, where they say
Yeah,
that it's meant
exactly.
to be backed by the US, but there's nothing there to
They say
show.
that the best U.S. Treasuries, U.S. bonds, it's a private company, but they say that the best thing to do is yes, transfer it into like stable tokens. After that, take some money out like a few months afterwards when everybody's done
Mm,
withdrawing and there's not craziness, and then take some money out so for lifestyle chips, paying rent, putting your kids through college. I don't know, go and live in Venezuela for 4 years where it's super cheap to buy anything, which a lot of people, by the way, a lot
yeah,
of people do. I'm actually having on a podcast with somebody who lives in Thailand who took 50K out, paid the taxes, and he's like, hey, I'm living in Thailand, cheap rent, I'm chilling. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, like just be sure to probably take a good amount and invest it into Bitcoin and wait for the next bull run. But that being said, this is just some pre-bull run prep. I gotta go in, Sully. Thanks for joining me, and probably next Friday or something. Maybe we'll make this a weekly thing. All right.
yeah, sure,
Oh, by
no
the way, I
problem
hope you
then.
enjoyed the palm trees in the background in California. It was a little noisy, but California's California, baby.
Yeah, and no, it looks really nice. Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful. Anyway, that's it. You said upwards and onward, brother.
Yeah, you too. See you later.